Hi, it's Andrea Strang here, Gallery222. We are having our little virtual table talk, our little art break with Eliza Auth. Welcome.
Thank you. Nice
So glad to have you. Let me give a little background for those who don't know you. But you studied at Philadelphia College of Art. You graduated from PAFA with the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Art. You worked as a graphic designer for years, but you have been a showing artist all your life because you showed in New York City and New Jersey and Pennsylvania. So we are just so happy to have you at our little gallery. And I wish people, again, I mean, our times are tough these days, but your room is gorgeous. It's all landscapes. We're showing them now. And I just feel like when you go in, there's a certain quietness, not to say they're not powerful, but just a quiet, calming emotion you get in your room. You haven't seen them now in the room yet.
No, I dropped the paintings off and I just trusted that you would hang them well.
Yes, and they are. Well, I think they are. So now if anyone needs to see them in person, contact me. Everything is online. It's Gallery222Malvern.com. You can actually buy it there. I know some of the galleries are just showing the show online, but then you have to contact the gallery. You can actually buy with your credit card. So if you're going on to buy, bring up the website with your credit card. So let's get right to your process, Eliza. Your work, it's so fine. Explain your whole process.
When I was at the Academy, I learned to develop the paintings with thin veils of transparent color. And I've just been doing that ever since. So often I'll start a painting with a complete monochromatic underpainting and then build up from there. And I know a lot of artists use that technique, and you kind of get to this point where it's like, wow, it's kind of like paint by number, because you've already done the drawing and you've got all of the values set up, and you can just, have fun with color at that point.
Well, that's right. When you look at your paintings, it's almost like you barely put any paint on the brush. Is that correct? Or is it just the paint itself that gives that effect?
Well, it depends on the stage of the painting that I'm in. So when I first start, I'm really using transparent colors to establish the dark. So I'm using colors like ultramarine blue and transparent red oxide and viridian, and I get the dark set up. When I start laying in the lights, I have to use more opaque colors.
Okay.
The ultimate effect is that the light goes through those transparent layers and kind of bounces back at you after it's come through the paint. So the trick is to find that glow that you can get from that technique.
Oh, wow. I've never heard that before. That is amazing. Now, how about your compositions? Because I feel like you are also a plein air artist. Yes. So it's kind of laid out, but is there tricks you use on how, where you place a bird, how you move people through your painting? Is it through color, through objects?
Since I'm using going into nature, I kind of rely on nature to lead me through it. So, if there's a path, that helps lead you through it. If there's a great distance, you get to do that, the hazy blueness in the background. So I think what you're seeing is a painting I did based on my trips to Ireland. And you kind of blue and gray out the far distance in order to get that depth in the painting.
Yes. I'm pointing at my screen, but no one can see that.
Me too, yeah.
Right. No, that is beautiful. Now, how is your technique different with plein air painting and your studio work, or do you do both on a given piece?
No, when I'm working out in the field, if I'm doing plein air, it's got to be alla prima because you have so little time. So, it's get the paint down and get it down as close to what you're seeing, because I use them as field notes and I take them back to the studio and I kind of absorb the experience. I have taken pictures where I am and I've done these little color sketches, and I go back to the studio and develop the full paintings. At that point, I get a chance to really refine the composition and decide the kind of mood I want, the kind of colors I want to use. All of those things I find I'm too busy standing in the field with swatting mosquitoes away to try to make all those decisions at once. So it's just getting familiar with the place. And that's one of the other things. I can't paint a place I don't have familiarity with. So even if I'm painting, I don't know, I spent a week in Iceland and I never really felt like I got Iceland. So I didn't continue with too many of those, but I felt so at home in Ireland, for example. It didn't take me long at all to feel like this is someplace I could paint forever. This I get. Yeah.
That's interesting. So what you're saying is you almost have to connect with the place for you to connect on canvas.
Yes.
You have to connect that first, and then it shows on your canvas. Right. That's interesting. I could see, again, never thought of it that way. Now, I failed to mention that we are taking questions. So if people want to, on Facebook, put in the comments, we'll get to your questions. If we miss your questions during our little talk, Eliza will go back and answer them. So please, chime in. So I have a comment already. Oh, from Chuck Daly. Chuck and Louise, they have the irises. They bought the irises.
Oh, great. Oh, wonderful.
They're phenomenal collectors. They're part of the Gallery222 family. I love seeing them every month. They could usually come at the same time. So that's their piece right there. And they're saying how much they love it.
Great.
So I should mention to all my collectors, this is really a hard time for everyone, every small business. And the fact that you are tuning in, that you're there, checking in, asking, when are we going to reopen? You need your art fix. I get a lot of comments, and I'm so happy you're all as anxious to get back to work as I am. So, and again, this show, I sound like a broken record, but it is super, super strong. So let's just see some of your work that you have in the show. And then if you want to start talking specifically, there's Gridstone Island. Do you want to start with that piece?
Yeah, Grindstone Island is one of the islands up in the Thousand Islands between New York and Canada. And we were hiking around this island and I just fell in love with this spot. And I love finding those, those little moments. You're taking a hike and all of a sudden, the vista opens up and you go, whoa, wait, I have to take a picture. So this was one of those experiences. It was a lovely day, a lovely hike, and I loved painting the painting because it kind of took me back there and I re-experienced the day.
Oh, that is so cool. And I love, that whole, it's always a hard thing to do is capture the sky, the reflection of the sky. And you actually don't even notice it. When I first look at it, I'm drawn to the lily pads. I think my eye steps back onto those. And then I get, the reflection, and it's just so, again, so atmospheric. I think you did that so well. And to see all your pieces in the one room, there's this serene feeling. That's why I'm always for art needs to be experienced. Not that, if you know the artist,
totally.
But I'm really hoping we're get back to our schedule because it really is. It is.
Well, I think it's a very different experience too, to see the art in person as opposed to seeing it on the screen, because on the screen you don't get any texture. Not that my work has that much texture, but you know what I mean? It's different.
Oh.
It's different. It's a tactile experience almost in real life. And yeah.
I agree. I agree. So this one, what is the name? This is Harbor at
Chebeague. Chebeague is a lovely little island in Casco Bay in Maine. And so another day, another hike with another friend, and it was just lovely. And it was, you know, not a dramatic scene like you find on Monhegan. It wasn't, you know, the rocky coast of Maine. It was just a lovely, quiet place. It was late afternoon. The tide had gone out. We were going to go home and have cocktails, and it was just a lovely moment that I wanted to capture.
Now, do you ever cheat and put things in that weren't there? Or, well, did you do that with this, or is this was the real deal?
This was the real deal. I think the number of boats in the distance was different. I don't remember now, you know, whether I took some out or put an extra one in, but
yeah.
Sometimes you have to figure out the right balance.
Right. Yeah. Now that is from experience. That's how I can tell someone's work, if it, you know, those liberties that you take, you can tell an experienced piece of art from an artist, an experienced artist. So then the next, Double Trouble blog. Now this I love because of the colors. I feel like the covers move me through. Even
well, it was a late September walk through a cranberry bog, and so what happens in cranberry bogs is they raise and lower the water level depending on where they are in the harvest.
Wow.
And so I think harvest had already happened. The water had been drained out. And so what you're left with is, you can see back there, that pale area, that's where the cranberries have been growing. And then they've got these pathways. And that's now it's now a state park in New Jersey, so it's great. You can walk through it, see the old buildings from when they were doing the cranberry business. And it's been the Double Trouble bog for like 200 years.
Oh, wow. That's so interesting. I love this. And then the still life with food dogs. This, I joked about this when I did my walkthrough, that you're the only one who can create a still life atmospherically, because you can actually, you know, with that landscape in the background, works so well, and it's so you.
Well, you know, it was done in February, right? And when you're frustrated because you want to go outside, you want to paint outside and couldn't. So that was what the frustrated landscape painter came up with.
Well, so that table is and plant, that's in your home.
That was in my living room. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, I love that. And then the Dune Road at Island Beach. This, this is great. I want to mention something about this one. This size, I think, is phenomenal for, what size is it? 12 by 36? And it's perfect if you have, say, like a mantle that's like a little over 5 feet, and then you have an 8-foot ceiling. It's just a perfect size, that 12 by 36 for over a mantle. So if anyone's thinking, I need something, but I don't want a big piece, it has the length, but it's only 12 inches high. And it's perfect, I think, for a beach house or any house. But where is this now?
So Island Beach State Park is in New Jersey. And it is, so it's the land that is north of the Barnegat Inlet. So anybody who knows the Jersey beaches knows where the Barnegat Light is. And this is that landmass that you can see if you're at Barnegat Light and you're looking north. So it connects to the northern beaches.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's a gorgeous, gorgeous park. It's, you get the sense that this is what it looked like when the Indians would go there in the summer. It was just, it's exquisite.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. All right, so we have some questions.
Okay.
Chuck Daly actually had a question way back when, and he asked, what drew you to paint the irises? He's specifically talking about the piece he bought.
Well, I remember the day that I was this was at a friend's parents' estate in New Jersey, and they had a beautiful pond. And I was kind of walking around looking for something that I wanted to paint. And then it was just so beautiful to have the light behind the irises. So that's what drew me to that, was that contrast of the light rock, the light water, and then these dark, dark flowers in front. So I got really excited about that, also that combination of color, the violets against that yellowy, greeny, browny color that's behind them. It just excited me.
Oh, well, it's a stunning piece. Fred Danzinger asked, can you compare painting in Mohegan with Ireland?
Fred, in a way, it's very similar because I get the feeling when I'm in Ireland that it really relates to what Maine is like. It feels like Maine, at least where I was in Ireland. And the only thing is that where I was painting in Ireland didn't have that, the drama of Monhegan when you go to the ocean side. And since I'm drawn to more quiet moments in the landscape, I think that's one of the reasons why Ireland really appealed to me.
Oh, that's great. That's great. He also has another question. Do you have any artists who you particularly aspire to or influenced? Are you influenced by?
As I was growing up, of course, we had a book at home that had, it was, I don't know, I think it was called 100 Years of American Painting. And, if I could have eaten that book, I would have, if I could climb inside that book. So that was how I learned to be an artist, was just devouring that book. And I think it was just a Time Life book, but it was, it was transformative. And so, I learned from the best. I learned from John Singer Sargent and Winslow Homer, and then later, of course, all of the Hudson River School painters and the Luminous. That's where I found my inspiration.
Oh, fantastic. So then Randy Graham, he's one of our artists too. Yes. He loves your composition. Can you discuss some techniques of planning a composition?
Yeah, there are some, some of the obvious ones. So if you're working on a landscape, you don't want to have the horizon line smack across the middle. And I think I mostly just kind of stick to the rule of thirds. So that means if I want to concentrate on the sky, the land mass is just the bottom third of the canvas. If I want to put something in that is, now on the one you're showing, which is the main painting, I use the grass area as basically that bottom third. And although the horizon line is, not far from the halfway point, because the blue of the water and the blue of the sky made more of a solid band, I figured I got it there. Then if you're going to put something in like a tree, or on this you can see there's the brightest of the mooring balls that's sitting in the mud flats is about at the 1/3 mark. And so if there's something that is going to catch the viewer's eye, you kind of want to put it there. It just feels more graceful. And Randy, I do not do anything more elaborate than that working on the compositions. I just want it to feel comfortable and peaceful and draw your eye in.
Oh, fantastic. That's great advice. And any aspiring artist, this is all really good stuff to know. So now you were part of our main event. And the one piece we still have at Gallery222, it's on the website. It's one of my favorites. And we actually had a client, one of our artists named it, Sue Ciccone, Snow on the Row. We did this little
Nice.
challenge to everyone. And we need a name for this painting. So the name is Snow in the Row. I love this painting because one, you never see Boathouse Row in the snow. And then two, I literally was walking as it was hanging to my right, and I was not focusing on it. And I was going to my desk. My desk is right past it. And then I jumped, and I felt like where the ice is, where the lake is, I thought it was a mirror. Like it was an optical illusion to me because I wasn't focusing on, but yet I saw it and I felt like I was looking at a mirror.
Oh.
And it just caught my eye. So it was like crazy. So tell us about this painting. Where'd you get the idea to paint it in the snow?
One of the things that happens to me is as I'm driving, of course, probably not the best way to drive, but I'm constantly looking at the landscape as I'm driving. And I was coming out of Center City to go home to Wynwood, and it had started to snow and the river had been frozen anyway. And all of a sudden I just saw this, it was like the perfect scene. And so I pulled over in that little pullover that's there, and I snapped a picture, and I had to go back and get another picture that was, so I could have enough information about the architecture, because that's always difficult. But it was that just a momentary thing where you see something, it's like, oh, I got to capture that.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. And it was called the main event, but I had to have this piece in the exhibit because I just loved it. And that I'm hoping you all are planning on going to Maine in August like you usually do. That's the crew of everyone, all these amazing artists. They take time in the summer to do a week or two up in that area, the Mohegan Bay area. I've never been. In fact, after having our table talk with everyone, I was thinking I am taking a trip in the summer when you all are up there, because one, it sounds like a blast.
Oh, totally.
And then just to be around all that energy with creating and the artist. So people probably don't know. Is it like 2 weeks you stay with everyone, or?
Well, it depends. In recent years, it's been a week. We'll rent a house on Mohegan for a week.
Okay.
But I have friends up there too, so often I'll go up again too and stay with my friends on Chibig. And it's you just don't pass up an opportunity to go to Maine, let me tell you.
No. So, and I definitely want to have that again come February 2020 or 2021. So you all better be working in August, because that was such a fun. You were all really good friends, and the sales were great, but you were all such a delight to work with. So I'm definitely doing that again. So real quick in closing, let's just talk about your husband. He left us way too soon. He is a Pulitzer Prize winner. He's a editorial cartoonist and a children's book illustrator, Tony Auth. What was that like, having two artists in a household? How did that balance?
Well, it was great because we did very different work. But sometimes, I remember one time he had a book illustration contract, and he was frustrated with the problem, and I ended up repainting part of his illustration. And we always kind of chuckled about that kind of thing. As the kids grew up, of course, they had access to all of our art supplies. And then they were shocked to discover that other children weren't painting with Series 7 watercolor brushes by Winsor Newton. Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Now, are either of you have two daughters, right?
Yes.
And a grandson.
And now a brand new grandson, yes.
Yes, who's adorable.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. I should have started with that in the beginning. So are either of your daughters artists?
Well, my older daughter works for the government, and she's busy with that, but I was pleased to see that she has a little corner set up in her house where she has her art supplies. So she plays with it a bit. And my younger daughter's a kindergarten teacher, and she uses her art skills all the time.
That's great. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, loved having you here. Love having your art in our little gallery. It really is a beautiful room. If you see anything you like out there on Facebook and Instagram, really easy, Gallery222Malvern.com, and 3 clicks and you have it. So, and then I'm doing no contact delivery or shipping it. So everything's on the website. Our next show, we're going to switch over the rooms, and that starts May 13th. We're going to go live with the website, and it's Wendy Prather-Burrell, Joanne Mark, and Alicia Auth. And we're going to do the insights where I'm going to walk around and show you their room. So that'll be May 14th. But this show closes Saturday. So please check out Eliza Auth. It was such a delight having you.
It was fun. Thanks,
It
Andrea.
was. And we did really well sales-wise. So I couldn't be happier. And thank you to my collectors and my Gallery222 family who supports us. So we're signing off. We'll see ya.
Bye.